Okay, fantastic. So thanks so much, everybody, for joining us today for this talk. More people in the lobby. This talk about knife crime. I'd like to welcome Lee Woodworth, who's going to be delivering the talk, and the link will be shared around afterwards on Hapio and various other by email, etc. So you guys can share it with learners or with maybe other members of staff who weren't able to join us today. So thanks so much. And without further ado, I'll hand it over to you, Lee.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all well. I'm just going to attempt to share my screen with you. So you should see a PowerPoint coming up any second now. Please tell me if you do.
Yes, that's come up fine for me.
Okay, that should be on there. I can't actually see the group chat, so if we could just have a quick show of thumbs up, maybe, if we can and can't see it.
Fabulous, yeah. So lots of thumbs up in the chat coming up, so I think everyone can see it fine. Yeah, brilliant.
Fantastic. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name's PC Lee Woodworth. I'm one of the school's liaison officers for North Wales Police. This afternoon, I'm going to be talking to you about knife crime, which is something we take extremely serious in not just North Wales Police, but every police force across the UK. It's a type of crime that has unfortunately been growing in recent years. No doubt you will have seen some documented on the news, some extremely sad stories involving knife attacks and young people. And collectively, we all really do need to play our part in combating the problem. So we're going to look at how we can keep ourselves safe and the potential dangers and consequences of choosing to carry a knife. So hopefully by the end, you will know what the law says about knives and bladed weapons. Be able to challenge the myth around why some people, particularly young people, may choose to carry a knife. Know how to stay safe when we're out and about. Know what to do if you know of someone who is carrying a knife. And choose how we can all live knife free. Okay, so what does the law say? Well, it's illegal to sell a knife to anyone under 18 years unless it has a folding blade of 3 inches or 7.6 centimeters or less. For example, a Swiss Army knife. Now, worryingly, some reports have suggested that around 5 out of 10 retailers in certain areas across the UK are breaking the law on underage knife sales, which is really concerning. And if a retailer is found to have sold a knife to an underage customer, they can receive an unlimited fine or possibly face up to 6 months in prison. So it's really important that retailers are utilising proper age verification, both in stores and also in particular online, especially the current COVID restrictions, whenever they're selling knives to the customers. So a Swiss Army knife, for those of you who are not familiar, is basically a multi-tool pocket knife with a folding blade of less than 3 inches. Usually comes with a red handle, and there are a number of other small devices attached to it. Okay, so it's also illegal to carry a knife in public without good reason unless it has a folding blade of 3 inches or less. So, Section 139 of the Criminal Justice Act makes it an offence to be in possession of a bladed article in a public place. So, if you're in possession of a knife, whether that be in your pocket, tucked into your clothing, secreted anywhere on your person, including a bag or a holdall, or anything that you are physically in possession of, then you commit this offence. Okay, now I know of a few young people in the past who have been stopped and found with a bladed article in their rucksack, and they didn't actually realise they were doing anything wrong. So just because it's in your bag, it is still classed as readily available and it's still in your possession. Okay, and penalties for this offence include a fine or up to 6 months imprisonment in a magistrate's court, or potentially for the more serious offences, 4 years imprisonment in a Crown Court. Okay, so it mentions there without good reason. Now, some people may have a valid reason to be in possession of a knife for occupational purposes, such as a chef or a carpenter or a fisherman. So, but what is important to remember is that proof of any requirement to utilise the knife would need it to be supplied if you were ever stopped by the police. Okay, and that any knives the tradesmen are carrying should be locked in a suitable box or other secure device when they're not being used. So, for example, if you were a carpenter, my advice would be to place your knife or knives with other tools such as screwdrivers, etc., in a secure box rather than have them lying around loose in your vehicle. Okay, moving on to number 3. It's illegal to carry, buy, or sell any type of banned knife. So, some examples of banned knives in the UK include a stealth knife, a zombie knife. There are several others, and a complete list of banned knives is documented on the gov.uk website, should anyone need to look at it. And also disguise knives, which has been and is continuing to be an issue. So anything with a blade which is hidden inside what appears to be an everyday object like a buckle or a hairbrush or even a mobile phone. Okay. Number 4, use any knife in a threatening way, and this includes knives under 3 inches. So remember that using any knife, whether it's a legal or illegal knife, in a threatening manner is against the law. So, for example, using your legal Swiss Army knife in a threatening manner, you would then commit a public order offence such as a fray. So just because your knife is legal, please don't think it gives anyone the right to abuse it. And lastly, number 5, so what legislation do we adhere to? Well, Section 1 of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act gives police the power to stop and search any individual in a public place if they suspect that person might be carrying a weapon, such as a knife or other bladed article. Okay, so it's really important, guys, to grasp this legislation, as anyone who did commit any of these offences I've mentioned will be arrested. And the last thing that police want to do is put young people before the courts where they risk being criminalised and potentially harming their future employment chances by choosing to carry a knife. Okay, but as I've already mentioned, we take knife crime extremely seriously. So please think before you act. Okay, so challenging the myth. Unfortunately, fear has a massive impact on the likelihood that young people will choose to carry weapons. In fact, in a recent Offending Crime and Justice survey, 85% of young people who claim to carry knives said they did so for personal protection or to make themselves feel safe. However, I can't actually stress enough how much of a complete myth this is. And if you are actually less safe if you are carrying a knife in public, and more likely to become involved in altercations and risk getting seriously injured as a result. Okay then, so if someone chooses to carry a knife, they are more likely to be attacked or threatened by others who also choose to carry a knife. So as I've just mentioned, statistics show that carrying a knife makes you vulnerable, as there is that chance that you may have it used against you. You're more likely to be injured or worse by your own knife. In recent years, approximately 7 out of 10 admissions to A&E for knife crime were as a result of someone being stabbed by their own knife. Now, knife attacks they're often very fast, and unfortunately, devastating injuries can be caused to the victim in a split second. And it's not just the physical damage that can be caused, but also the psychological impact for the victim and for their families. So it's important to remember that having that knife in your possession is actually only one step before using it. Okay, injure or even kill another with their knife. Again, if someone is known to carry a knife, then other people will expect them to use the weapon, and this means that they're more likely to want to use the knife first if they engage in any conflict. There's also the risk to bystanders. If somebody decides to bring a knife to a fight, other innocent people can easily get injured through no fault of their own by simply being in the way. And finally, as I've mentioned, if you carry a knife and you are stopped by the police, then you will be arrested. Okay, facts. And that is a definite fact. So please be reassured that although it is important for you to be aware of the issues I'm talking about now surrounding knife crime, most young people do not carry knives. Okay. In fact, a recent Home Office report confirmed that 99% of 10 to 29-year-olds do not carry a knife. But what we're hoping to do by educating and raising awareness on the issue is to get that figure up to 100%. So, how can we stay safe when out and about? Well, firstly, it's important for your parents or carers to know exactly where you are, who you are with, and what time you're going to be coming home. Have an ICE number in your phone. Okay, so ICE in case of emergencies. Have one of those numbers in your phone, which is readily available should you need to use it and contact somebody in an emergency. Stay in well-lit areas, yeah, and avoid going into any areas that you're concerned about or you feel are unsafe. Wherever possible, avoid being alone, okay? It's much safer to remain with another person or in a small group. Obviously, with the current COVID restrictions, we're restricted to numbers when we're out and about in public, but please, you know, when time allows, a small group or at least another person. Okay, take care not to have any of your valuables on view. So mobile phones, cash, any other digital devices that may attract the attention of the wrong people. Okay, very important. If you are ever threatened with a knife for any valuables, then give them up and get away as quickly as possible. Please, please don't try and be a hero. Remember, possessions are replaceable, but you are not. Okay, and if this did happen at the earliest opportunity, please report the robbery to your local police station. Okay, and lastly, if you've got any concerns about knives or any other crime, you should contact a trusted organisation for advice such as fearless.org.uk, which I'm going to speak about shortly. Speak with a trusted adult, whether this is a parent, a carer, one of your college lecturers, or obviously at your local police station. Okay, as I said at the start, we all have this collective responsibility to help keep, you know, the communities that we live in safe. And one way in which we can make them safer is to report someone who may be carrying a knife or any other weapon. So I've just mentioned fearless.org.uk, who are a charity designed for young people, where they can make a report of any crime and criminality, not just knife crime, which is 100% anonymous. Okay, so when someone does make a report, they will not be asked for any personal details, not even their name. Fearless are only interested in what has happened and who was involved. So what they do is they give people a safe place to report anything they know, and it's by using a simple online form which is very easy to complete. Again, the form only requires details about the crime or the incident, not about you. So maybe you know about someone who has committed a crime and you might be worried about providing information about them, or possibly scared about any possible repercussions. However, as I said, please be reassured that the service is completely 100% anonymous. Okay. Another benefit of the website is that it has an A to Z list of crimes, giving a brief description of what each crime is, as well as the consequences around it. So with the more information and knowledge that you guys have, you'll be able to make better decisions around crime. Okay, so the key message from the Home Office is to live knife free. And remember, carrying a knife is literally one step before using one. So please do not carry one. And remember, if you pull out a knife, you could take a life. Okay, so just to finish, there are various charities and organisations who can offer support to anyone who has any concerns about crime, not just knife crime. I've just mentioned about Fearless. Mike Cymru, I don't know if you know about that, is a helpline specifically for young people up to the age of 25 living in Wales. You can speak to them confidentially for advice on a wide range of topics, such as how to deal with a difficult situation you might be faced with, or simply just to find out what's happening in your local area. Childline, free, private and confidential service to anyone in the UK under 19. You can discuss anything that might be troubling you. They have lots of trained counsellors on hand to help, and again, it's all confidential unless they feel that someone is in any immediate danger or at risk of any serious harm, then they have a duty to disclose that information. And lastly, Victim Support are an independent charity who do a lot of fantastic work. They really do, supporting victims of all crimes in England and Wales. The support is free, it's confidential, and they can be accessed by free phone or online. Okay, so that brings me to the end of the presentation. I hope you found it useful and it's answered some of the questions you may have had. I'm aware that the presentation is being recorded for other students who aren't here today. So if you do have any questions, the lecturers have my contact details. Please feel free to email me anytime and I'll be more than happy to help. Okay, well, that's all from me.
That's great. Thank you so much, Lee.
No problem.
So the recording is going to be posted on Hapio along with your contact details as well, and lecturers can then share that on their Google Classrooms, etc., etc. So we really appreciate you taking the time, and yeah, I think I speak for everyone when I say thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Look after yourselves. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.